Hmm. All right. So, ah, hmm, finding a nice position where you can be relaxed and yet alert. Hmm. Perhaps tilting the pelvis forward and checking the position of the spine, not leaning forward or back. Bringing the shoulders back, opening the heart, extending the neck, and tucking the chin in. And then allowing everything to soften, to relax, to whatever extent the body wants to relax. And we'll begin with one sound of the bell, just letting the bell call you back to the present moment, to the body. Hmm. And allowing the attention to sink deeply into the body, noticing sensation throughout the body, and welcoming it all. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, strong, subtle, wanted, unwanted. Noticing any defending, any wanting things to be different, and dropping any effort to defend. Dropping any sense that there's a problem. And inviting it all to come in all the way. And noticing that you're the one who notices. There may be thoughts pulling at your attention, doing your best to release the pull of the thoughts, to just let them go on and let them just be in the background. No need to engage with them. And tonight we're going to do a bit of a different kind of meditation, a little bit. So imagine that there's an alien awareness floating through space. And it's never had a body, it's never had a mind. It's just been aware of space. Not much going on. And this alien awareness is actually quite kind and caring. And you, in your kindness, have agreed to allow this alien awareness to enter your body-mind, to experience your body-mind. And that's quite wonderful of you. So this alien awareness is approaching Earth now, approaching wherever you are. And when the alien awareness enters your body-mind, you won't be there anymore. Instead, this alien awareness will be the one who's aware. And there's no problem. It's a kind, caring alien awareness. They won't hurt you. So it's almost where you are. And perhaps invite the alien awareness in. Say, hello, alien awareness. You're welcome. You're welcome to experience my body-mind. Just saying that to yourself. Hello, alien awareness. You're welcome to experience my body-mind for maybe 10 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. Just for this meditation. So at the sound of the bell, the alien's approaching, getting very close, and at the sound of the bell, the alien awareness will enter your body-mind. So now, the one experiencing this moment is the alien awareness. And so you are this alien awareness. And you've never had a body-mind before. We're just exploring this body. This is all new to you. Noticing the feel of the hands. What's it like to have hands? And this alien awareness is quite careful, moving slowly, not quite sure how this all works, not wanting to hurt this kind person who's let them experience this. Noticing that there's feet and legs. What does it feel like to have feet and legs? Noticing the contact between the body and the chair or cushion and floor or mat. You've never had a body and you've never felt any contact between a body and something else. And now noticing the pelvis and torso. So many sensations. And you notice that there's this rhythm to the sensations. What is that? Notice, oh, there's this body is taking in the atmosphere, the air, the air coming into the body, the movement of the body with the breath. You've never had breath before. What's it like to breathe? It's pretty wild. Wow. Now noticing the sensations in the arms, and in the neck and head. Now noticing sound. In space you can't hear anything. There's no air to transmit sound. But here on Earth, you hear the sound of my voice, and maybe there's sounds in the room that you're in. Maybe there's a ringing in your ears. You love it all. It's all so amazing. And you notice that there are also these sounds, they seem to be coming from inside your head, like a mental talk or something. What is that? You've never experienced thoughts before. You can even make thoughts happen. What thought do you want to make happen? Perhaps the alien can access your memories, bring up some wonderful moment in your life, a moment you can be thankful for. You can bring up any moment you want. You can remember all the details. And maybe there's something else here. Maybe there's an emotion of some sort. What emotions do these thoughts trigger? It's also interesting. This human existence. What a treat. And you can feel the emotions in the body. Maybe you notice there's mental images as well. And again, you can make any mental image you want happen. You can bring up the image of a loved one, or a memory of a beautiful place, or a beautiful time. And perhaps there's aspects of this experience that are unpleasant or unwanted, but even those are so interesting. You just want to experience them. You know, there's only a minute or two left for you to experience this. And then it's back to space. And you feel so much gratitude for that this person let you experience their body and mind. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're so lucky to be human, to have this body and this mind. And at the sound of the bell, the alien will depart back to space, but you'll still, you, the host, will continue with this meditation. Goodbye, my alien awareness friend. And now you're back in your body, in your mind, experiencing the whole sensorium, the body, the breath, the sounds, mental talk, mental images, and smell or taste. It's all here for you. Now you are the awareness. You're the one who notices. You're the one who gets to experience it all. And now, with the sound of the other bell, we'll bring this practice to an end. allowing the eyes to open if they're closed, and stretching, moving, massaging, bringing kindness to this body and this mind. So I'd love to hear your experience there of the caring alien awareness. None. Okay. I know for me, the first time I did this, it was Jeff Warren who invented this, and I found it really just it really brought out the beginner's mind. You know, the sense of never having experienced these things before, and the sense of wonder and interest, curiosity, and concentration. Because it was just because that interest was there, it was a lot easier to stay focused and not have the attention wander. I don't know if any of you experienced any of that.
Yeah, I did, especially at the beginning. And then, so yeah, at first I was very curious about sensations in the body and my hands and contact with other things. But then my mind started doing things. And then it was like the alien was very confused as to what stories were going on. Um, so my mind invaded a little.
Yeah, minds do that sometimes.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mark. Anne?
Um, yeah, I think the word confused, yeah. I thought, poor thing. That's in my mind. At the end of the day, yeah, just, all of these, I think that you're right. It's that awareness and that just being able to, ability to perhaps observe better. And then these tangents, you realize, oh my God, I could just go off in tangents. Um, but yeah, I think the exercise does give this ability to be able to observe well,
Mhm.
it offers that. So that I think it's good to have this other, yeah, I'm not attached to what I observe. So it's very, very useful and interesting.
Mhm. Yeah. Lisa?
Yeah, I definitely had that sense of beginner's mind. And then I also was sort of comparing the feeling of this to the other exercise last week and part of our homework this week of this is your last time, this is the last meditation, or it's a different, it feels different. Both of them are like more present, but they feel different.
Hmm.
The yeah, it's subtle, but it was interesting to me that they were, yeah, sort of the subtle difference.
Good. How would you describe the difference, if you could?
The beginner's mind kind of feeling felt more curious, and the other one was more appreciation of like, it wasn't like this is all like, what is this? It was just more like, wow, like this is it. Like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. Allie?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. What I how I interpret this too, that the alien doesn't know anything. It's not from this world, so it doesn't have any of the prejudices and the stories and narration that we have. So when it got into my body, it didn't have any judgment about what this body looked like. It was just feeling what we was feeling. And that was kind of interesting. I go, oh, it's kind of warm and cozy in here. And nice little soft, gentle movements. And like, it's not so bad being in here. Especially if there's absolutely no kind of judgment of aesthetics, because that alien doesn't know any of that. And that sort of went through with other parts too, that it doesn't know that that these things are thoughts, and these can overwhelm you, and these can catch you and hook you. So it was kind of fun to have a blank slate sort of come in and take over for a while.
Mm.
But at first I thought, oh no, science fiction.
That's interesting.
That was my initial reaction, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I said, keep your heart open.
Yep. That's a good one. Thanks, Allie. Julie?
That was very good. I actually had that same science fiction thing. Oh, not the alien, too. But what I like about that one is that it helps me feel like I'm separating my consciousness from my physical being. So in the way that Lee said, it's like exploring that curiosity versus appreciation in the normal sort of scans that we do and that sort of stuff. I try to think of it like that, like separating into the who notices part of it, right, is the alien, and then just exploring it as the physical body, what it is to breathe, what it is to have fingers, all those kinds of things. But yeah, I do tend to the novelty wears off, and then I do tend to wander a little bit with that. Whereas I think with that sense of appreciation, it feels more like self-care in a way, because then I don't know whether it's like integration of that mind body thing that happens, where I know what I have, and I know what I'm breathing into, and I become more conscious of trying to do it for my physical and mental good, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's just something that it ends up feeling to me like I'm more part of what is happening in a normal body scan, or a normal sort of what we usually do as meditation, being mindful of staying present and all that sort of stuff, because it feels more like integrated self-care than just observation.
Right. Yeah. And did anyone have any difficulty come up? Any sorry, did you want to speak, Graham?
No, am I?
Oh, you're unmuted. There's sort of some noise.
Oh,
I'll just
sorry.
if I can mute there. I muted you. I yeah, I didn't take you through a difficult situation there. We sort of ran out of time, but did anyone have any difficulty come up? Because one thing that I've noticed with the alien awareness meditation is it can really help to disidentify with whatever's going on. That it's the alien awareness experiencing it, not me. That was my experience when Jeff led it. It was about 25 minutes, I think. So there's a little more time. But that sense of non-identification with what's going on. And that's kind of what Ali was referring to with the, that there wasn't this judgment about the body or whatever you notice, because there isn't that identification. I don't know if that's the sense you had, Ali. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Anyway, that's you can always do that meditation. It's like it's not complicated, right? It's just imagining that there's an alien awareness, and it's not you experiencing whatever, it's the alien awareness. um
No, but then I felt very sad I had to let the alien go. I felt kind of sad then.
okay. Well, you don't actually have to ever let the alien go, right?
Yeah, maybe not, because I thought, oh, that's like, I just felt, yeah, back out into cold space and wait for a meteor to go by or something.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I think that's part of like just realizing, oh, yeah, there really is, there is so much, right? And
yeah,
that's, yeah, there is so much, and to see it through someone else's eyes, which is, I can't think what we're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Mickey often talks about how, for him, one thing that helps him a lot is to just recall that, you know, um, that whatever's going on is a lot more interesting than just being out in space with nothing, right? He talks about like if you're out in space and there's nothing going on, and if a cockroach goes by, you'll be so excited. Oh my God, a cockroach went by, and you want to like be with the cockroach and make a pet of the cockroach, and you know, um, and just help us appreciate like this is a pretty cool life I have here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of interesting things going on, right? And we take it for granted. So, um, okay. So let's go on to the home practice review. So we had this talk about the inner sport of letting go. Anyone have any comments about that?
Well, I think I can't remember now where things were in which talk or whatever, but it's just this thing of, yeah, the letting go is what counts, like and the conviction, no matter what. And there's days when I feel I can't even do this. Like, what can I do? But then I notice that there are just like, for no good apparent reason, I just feel very happy. Like I just, why do I feel so good? I kind of walk around doing things. So, like it's from the opposite of yeah, just stick with it. And just the practice, to stick to the practice of the letting go when all else fails, kind of thing.
Hmm. Makes sense. Graham, did you want to?
Yes. Well, what I found with this last talk, um, a lot of the same things, the same basic premise about letting go and well, listening to the personal mind, but towards the end, it was about the low hanging fruit and making sure you got. The only way you can get there is to start, playing the scale, so to speak, and doing the low hanging fruit and working on the small stuff, and that kind of gives you a. And it needs to be, yeah, because I can't just manifest the big samskaras and make them go away. That's just not gonna, doesn't work like that. So just keep going along, and he gives you the sort of the encouragement that this will happen. It just takes time.
Mhm. Yeah. Thanks, Graham. Lisa?
I've noticed a subtle shift since doing this, because there's so much, my focus has been so much on this, which has been really great. The stuff I still get really stuck on is the same stuff I talked about at the beginning. And when you and I had a one-on-one, you said, well, maybe this is not small stuff for me, but it's still like the stuff around people doing, like, now I just seems everyone around me, I'm exaggerating, but are watching shows with the speaker. Like, I was waiting to get my car yesterday and waiting in the waiting area. Guy just a few seats over is watching shows and listening to music, no ear things. And I was like, it's like I choose to keep being annoyed by it. I know there's some choice. And I just, the mumbling that I was like saying to this guy, he couldn't hear me, was, I mean, at least I kind of entertained myself because I was being kind of ridiculous. And then I thought I'm being like a Karen or something. And thank God nobody can hear me. But it's just, I know the stuff that, and I just keep choosing to be drawn in and pissed off and can't believe people do this. And
Yeah. So, I don't actually think you're choosing to be annoyed or choosing to have those thoughts. I mean, that's what happens when your samskaras get hit, is there's a reaction, right? The question is, do you let that reaction in? Do you let yourself experience it, or do you resist it? And if you're thinking, oh, like, why am I still doing this? Then that is resistance, right? Because there's a not wanting this to be going on, right? So a way that you can work with that is when you notice it coming up, instead of, I think you're kind of beating yourself up there, right? You're kind of saying like, why am I still doing this? Why am I still doing this? But instead to just smile and go, bring it on, let this is so interesting, and just let yourself feel the annoyance. Let the thoughts go on and just say, silly mind, or but don't, you don't need to engage the thoughts. You don't need to push them away or want
well,
them to be there.
I definitely allow the annoyance. I mean, there is a little bit of like, oh, why are you letting it, like, you're the one suffering, but mostly I'm just so in there. Like, under my breath, I'm like, you're not in your own living room. Like, why do you think we all want to hear that? Like, I'm literally mumbling this. And so I'm like fully in, and with a little bit of awareness of like, do you want to keep living like this?
When you say fully in, what do you mean?
Of in my annoyance.
Uh, so there's two different things. One is sitting on the, bank of the river, watching it go by, smile on your face. And one is being in the river. So and so I would just like, do you notice any sense of struggle, or do you look for struggle in that experience? Any sense of defending?
Well, in the sense that like I'm so right in my position, and the person with the speaker in a public space is so wrong.
Right.
And I get the river and watching the thoughts. Like, I get it kind of, I do get it in moments, and I get it in meditation. But this seems to be like a constant thread that just, I want to go over to the person and talk. Like, I actually wanted to go over to this man and say, can you explain this to me? Like, have an interesting conversation, not angry, but just like, do you think that this is, other people can hear this? Like, I'm
Right.
just, yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot of resistance there. right? And you know, you could try countering it with a thought like, isn't that nice that they get to enjoy that show? Isn't that nice for them? Right? Isn't that nice that they get to enjoy that music? You know, gee, personal mind, I know you don't like that, but I think it's just fine.
But then if you're saying feel the annoyance or let
I'm
the
I'm
annoyance in,
I'm not saying,
that's where I get confused.
yeah, because it's a doing versus a non-doing. It's a steering versus a non-steering. You want to completely let go of the steering wheel. So it's not a matter of annoyance is here, I want to feel it. It's rather annoyance is here, let it do whatever it wants. It can go away, it can stay, it can get more, it can get less, it can zig, it can zag. I'm just watching. I'm just sitting in the seat of awareness, enjoying the show, right? Now, of course, you're experiencing annoyance. So like you have the emotion of annoyance there,
Yeah.
right? So it's not quite as la-di-da as that. But the point is to notice any attempts to steer the experience and drop the steering, drop the use of will, drop any effort to make it go here or there. Um, drop any trying to rationalize things or figure anything out. And just be like, I'm just here watching, enjoying the show. Um, you know, this is so cool. You know, and you know, oh, personal mind wants to do this. Silly mind, you know. Oh, personal mind wants to go over and sit down with the person and talk with them about this. Silly mind, you know. They they don't need me to do that. Um, you know, and I'm not saying what's right or wrong in the situation, but as the exercise of learning to let go, right? The personal mind is going to try and convince you that you should do something, right? Or that things should be different, that I
Yeah,
shouldn't
that
be
needs to
having
be
these
different.
thoughts. Yeah, that I shouldn't be having these thoughts. I shouldn't be having these feelings.
Oh
You know,
no, I meant things should be different in that people shouldn't be playing
right. Okay.
their
Because
things
you,
with their earbuds or
right. Because you start off by saying like, why am I feeling annoyed again? And why are these thoughts coming up again? But you know, that and you know, like the universe is really helping you a lot. Like the universe is going, I'm really going to help you work with this. You know, isn't that nice of the universe? Right? It's it's uh it's adopting that sort of, you know, that my biggest goal in life is to learn to let go. Anytime there's a situation that is helping me to learn to let go,
mm,
that's a gift. That's something to appreciate, right? And um, you know, these sorts of thoughts don't always come to you when you're in the midst of a disturbance, right? The mind tends to go right back to its pattern, and you don't think of these things. But that's, you know, sort of the direction we're trying to head. And again, it's you can't, you know, you can't control what happens with the mind. So, um, you know, you look back on it sometime later and you go, I, you know, there was a lot of resistance there. How could I, you know, what could I do next time kind of thing. Um, but the fact that the reactions are coming up, like that is not any, all it says is there's a samskara there. It doesn't say anything about your practice. You want reactions to come up because that's the only way to let the samskaras out.
So in that situation, it's not that, it's not that then of thinking, oh, what's the samskara? Just there's a samskara.
Yeah, there's a samskara and I want it out. And the way that I let it out is I notice any defending, any attempt to steer, and I drop that. And you know, I'm thankful for this opportunity to learn to let go. And I know that, you know, my views, my model of the world are very different than this other person's views, and that's okay. That's how it is. That's the reality. It's not good or bad. You can say it's bad because it bugs me, and you can say it's good because it's helping me release my samskaras. There's no absolute truth here.
Yeah, I kind of understand.
Well, I get it. You know, I'm just like you. I mean, when something bugs me, it bugs me. I want it to stop. But it's my personal mind that wants it to stop. And as soon as I see it as an opportunity to learn to let go, then that changes the whole perspective on what's going on.
Mhm.
As soon as you realize, oh, personal mind, I see you. We're not going along with you right now. You know, my goal in life is to do the opposite of what you want me to do. Right? Because I want to get beyond you.
Mhm.
Because beyond you is heaven.
Right. Thanks.
Marina?
I felt like I appreciate the questions because they do help, us all on this journey. And I find that it's true when you're like thanking for the practice when you see something come up like that, and it's just more practice. I thought the power of intent, that chapter was helpful
Mm-hmm.
in what we're talking about right now. Like there's a part in the chapter, and I know we're going to talk about it, like when he even says like go about your, like, say in the morning or say at night. I thought that was really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that is what it comes down to, right? In the moment, if you, I mean, first of all, you have to recognize, oh, this is a personal mind. Oh, there's a reactivity or a disturbance here. There's some scars come up. But then once you do that, you've got a decision to make to either succumb to the pull of the personal mind or not. And your personal mind is going to be screaming, you know, this shouldn't be like this, you know, I don't like this, whatever, you know. And so if you have a very strong intention that says, no, no, my goal is to release my samskaras, that's more important than this situation. So the more clarity you have on that, the stronger your intention to release your samskaras, the easier that decision is. And what Mickey's saying is, you want to have as strong an intention as possible because it's that strong intention that allows you to very easily make the decision, I'm not going to do what the personal mind wants me to do.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it just that this chapter really helped me to say, is this how I want to continue? You know, like it just was very helpful.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you.
his recommendation to, to every morning and every evening say, purpose of my day is learning to let go of my samskaras, um, and evolve spiritually. I mean, that's a great practice, right? And then to do it in the morning, and then to do it. I do it in the morning. I don't tend to do it in the evening so much. And the evening is good because, like, actually reviewing, like, where did I get hooked today? You know, and might be an opportunity also to, say, where did I get hooked, and what can I do next time?
Thank you.
Yeah. So also in the home practice was moments of centered consciousness. Are folks still finding moments of centered consciousness helpful? Yeah. Some folks. And then the small stuff, of course, which is really the heart of the thing. Any questions on that, or anything you want to share about that? Victories, maybe? No? Okay. Allie? And then Julie?
A small thing for me, one of the things that I've been working on is not getting hooked into the news. And so my strategy has been to just not really listen to the news very much, and I never watch it on screen. But I listen to CBC, and they have the 5-minute news on the hour, so I do get exposed to it enough. So I noticed that when it came on, I would actively resist listening to it, resist feeling what was going on when I heard all the news. And this week I found myself listening to it and reacting to it, but not getting hooked into it. And I actually had to cry several times because the news is what it is now. But I cried, and then I got over it and went back to whatever came next.
Did you notice any like when the reaction came on, what did you do with it? Like, what sort of practice did you do, if any?
Just noticing it, just observing it, just feeling it.
Hmm.
Just feeling the sadness, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just feeling, oh, that's really sad, and just feeling it and feeling it in the body and letting it go.
Letting what go?
The feeling as it just let it happen as I was listening to it, and when it was over, it was over.
Right. Okay. Did you notice any resistance to the sadness?
No, I didn't. But before I did all the time.
Hmm.
I didn't want to hear anything sad.
Okay. Thanks, Allie. Julie?
Well, for my small stuff, I think I've been I've been on the same thing, working on it for a while, with my neighbor, and she's always yelling at her kids and stuff. And I happened to be unloading stuff from my car and on the weekend, and she came out because I was parked sort of near her house, and we took that moment sort of to catch up a little bit, and it was funny. And I asked her, so how are your kids and whatever. I hadn't seen her for a while, and it's always that she's been yelling at her kids. And so I wake up on Saturday morning to her yelling at her kids, and it was I was caught off guard in just the fact that I just asked as a passing question, thinking she was going to just say, oh, everything's fine. And she actually hit right on the spot and said, "Oh, but everyone on the street is probably so sick of hearing me yelling at my kids." You know, she said, they're, you know, they're this and that and the other, and everybody on the street's probably sick of me, you know, yelling at my kids. And it was right there. And I had to laugh in that moment because it was almost like, oh my gosh, like the universe has pulled out exactly the thing that's been bugging me the whole time, and here it is, we could talk about it. And so in my laughing, she knew that yes, I've heard it and all that sort of stuff. I was a little bit embarrassed because I thought, oh my gosh, like I hope she doesn't take offense at the fact that in my head has been this ongoing conversation about, would you shut up with your stupid kids? And yet there it was. And so we kind of just laughed about it. And, you know, my feeling of embarrassment over the fact that, you know, what was in my head came actually out into the open. And I kind of had to just feel that embarrassment for the second. We laughed, it was over. And really, in her sort of explaining about, you know, the kids are doing whatever and they're always, you know, it sort of really just made it like, well, gosh, Julie, like just, you know, like it's not a thing. Just drop it. Sometimes you're going to wake up and that's going to be what's happening. But it just sort of explained it with a story that my mind felt like it accepted as, okay, well, stuff happens, you know? So I have yet to test it on Saturday, you know, and see if that draws any other kind of reaction from me yet. But it was interesting that it came up and now it's out there. And it's almost like the getting it out there makes me not hold anything about it anymore. Like I feel that I'm not going to hold anything about that anymore. So it felt good to me anyway, to just know that she also knew.
Right.
So if that makes sense, it feels like less of a burden to me because I also know she was experiencing it herself in a similar way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like um, you have a better understanding of her situation.
Definitely, definitely. And in that, she as the person became more important to me than the behavior that she was showing. And that triggered, I guess, maybe empathy in me or some compassion for her situation. And
Mhm.
in that, it sort of softened all of the edges that I was feeling around that particular situation. I hope that in doing this practice and continuing, that it softens all of the jagged edges that come around things. But it takes work, and that just happened to be one of the things that came out of this for me. So I was glad that I felt like, ooh, I think I can release this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, understanding does lead to compassion and caring, and yeah. Thanks, Julie. So, it sounds like we've already gone on to captain of your ship, with the news, and anyone else want to share about your captain of your ship practice, your action commitment that and how you worked with that, with urges that came up, and yeah, Linda.
Just briefly, it was interesting. My first commitment to doing some physical activity, 10 to 20 minutes every day. The first week, it was really great. And then when I added on the other one, what was interesting, and I had to laugh what Marina was saying about the TV, was it was interesting how many different reasons I had for not doing it. And so it was interesting just watching them all. And then getting snarled up in that one, I dropped the first one. And then so this week I tried to like come back to both of them a little bit. So it's actually interesting how hard it's been, but also how fruitful it is. And I really appreciated both your way of casting it and Mickey's way of casting it, of just like, the kind of I don't have time and I don't feel like it is actually not you. And it's been much easier to not quite take it as seriously. And it's also been interesting to listen to the mind going like this and take it as interesting, not, cataclysmically self-critical that that's what's going on and not wanting to hear it and not wanting to take responsibility for it, but just to be able to see it. So it's actually that part has been quite interesting. And also just giving yourself the gift of the intention, or to the gift of the goal, as opposed to a should. And so that's also been interesting. The I can give myself this thing if I want it, and I intend to give myself this thing, and I would like this thing. And so that part has been interesting to hear that in that way.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been very useful actually to think about. And I'm a pretty, scattered, easily distracted person. And so it's been really interesting to go, oh, is what I'm doing right now is actually fitting in with my intention? And often it isn't. And I go, oh, okay, so what is my intention? So it's been the intention practice has been really good.
Mhm.
So I've enjoyed that, or I found it useful. Not successful, no, but interesting and useful and encouraging.
Mhm.
Actually, it feels more, when I don't do things, it feels less of a cataclysmic failure than an interesting thing that the personal mind is doing that may not be in my best interests.
Mhm.
So
Thanks, Linda. And welcome, Jill. Hope things are okay with your husband. You're muted.
I need to go get some glasses because I can't see. I came back here. Anyway, I'll be right back. And I'm so glad to be here with everybody. I'll be right back.
Hey. So then the last thing was the last thing I'll ever do. So just imagining, that whatever you're doing is the last thing you'll ever do. Anybody practice that? Mm-hmm. Was it helpful?
I like it. And I also, I find it interesting how we can, in a way, trick ourselves. Like, I know it's not, I mean, it could be true, but today I was just walking, I was leaving work, so I was just walking downtown. I started doing a bit of work again. And just, yeah, appreciating all the people, the noise, like it was just, but it was also, I'm also aware of like, oh, it's so funny because I'm tricking myself, but it works.
Yeah. And it's just adopting a perspective or, because we never know when it'll be the last thing you'll ever do, right? I use
Yeah.
this, my mom's 85 years old. When I go visit her, I often remind myself, I don't know if I'm going to see her. I mean, and she's in good shape. Like I mean, I really don't think it's going to be the last time, but I do that just in order to, it just creates an appreciation for her, really, right? And so, and I can do that. I do that sometimes with my partner or with friends, just to help cultivate that appreciation and also to help, at the end of the day, really, it's about, being here now, right? And um, whatever I can do to appreciate the preciousness of this moment, um, I try and do. Because at the end of the day, if I treat every moment with the reverence that I could, it transforms the moment, you know. And if I could actually do that with every moment in my life, I mean, life would be amazing, right? So it's so simple, but it's like, how do you do that? But the main thing is just to work with it, as Mickey says, right? Just remind yourself continuously, like, can I just be here now? Can I just let this moment in and really appreciate it, whether it's wanted or unwanted? And I stop struggling with it or throwing my mind into the future, which is usually what I do, right? I'm washing my hands, but I'm thinking about what I'm doing next. Okay, so anyone else? No? So let's move on to the power of intent, which we've touched on a bit already, but you know, it's just which is stronger, your intention to be free or your intention to avoid discomfort in the present moment, right? So that that's the major factor in, you know, whether you'll be able to let go of the personal mind. So, you know, one thing I do to water that intent is to just listen to Mickey's talks. And that's mostly what his talks are about. They're not about technique of relax, release, lean back, or notice, relax, release. They're mainly about like, you should want to do this. You should want your samskaras out, right? Here's why. So, and you know, like he says, just the purpose of this day is to learn to let go. Every morning I say to myself, the purpose of this day is to learn to let go. And I try and that's probably the and then just actually like making that decision, right? And you kind of have to decide, or my experience is, I have to decide that over and over and over and over, right? Because I can decide it, but then, you know, the personal mind starts going, oh, but you know, wouldn't it be lovely? Da 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 da, and you don't want to experience this pain, and they shouldn't be doing that, and you know, don't you want things to be how you want, you know? So, you know, it's sort of over and over again, no personal mind, no, you know. Not that I don't want things to be as I want, but mainly I want my samskaras out. So, you know, Mickey talks in this chapter about it's worth the pain. It's worth the pain. So, you know, just keep reminding yourself it's worth the pain. You know, just like going to the gym and working out, it's worth the pain. And then Marina.
Yeah, it's just thinking about that and how the personal mind works, and where he's saying it's more important than all the other things in your life. But I've noticed, because my sort of captain of the ship, or what I chose was at first, to get out and walk, and I realized, no, I need more sleep. I'm not getting it. So to get up at a certain time, but then it's the problem is what happens before. And a lot of it, I realize, is, I think, the personal mind. Yeah, there are things to do for work. I'm trying to get it all done, prep, but it's also the person, oh, you have to do this. Oh, you need to do that. I probably don't need to do all of that, but I think a lot of it is this kind of anxiety. No, this has to be done, you know. And I think that's the struggle also. is when he says it's more important than this. Okay, but finding that balance, you know, but as I said, I think you're right that, and I try and do that too. Okay, when I'm doing other things, I listen to the talks. So I'm trying to like find that balance so that I'm taking care of business kind of stuff. And I'm trying to make space then, you know, kind of water everything, do the watering of the good stuff with whatever it is, the sitting or the talks. But I think there is this kind of, and it's the personal mind, you know, is kind of steering it. Oh, this anxiety, oh, this and this, right? So it's finding that balance, I find is I'm becoming more aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, at some point you may, like, for me, you know, I decided a while ago that my practice was number one. And so I've done things to create space in my life for that. And I've also, you know, changed my perspective on things like sleep. You know, I don't worry about sleep the way I used to. And I get a reasonable amount of sleep, but I go to bed earlier than I used to, you know? So, because if I say, oh no, I want to get up at this hour, I try not to let myself on, you know, I might sleep in the odd time, but it's like I do not want to get in the habit of sleeping later because I get a lot out of getting up early. And so, you know, I'll just go to bed really early one night. And especially if I'm really tired, right? Oh, I'm gonna, you know, if I can, I'll go to bed early. So plus you know, I moved from a full-time job to a part-time job, so that was a big thing. Anyway, it's a matter of, you know, what are my priorities, right? And, you know, this world tells us your priorities should be make a lot of money, you know, go on your vacations and, you know, all this sort of stuff. And not that it's bad to make money or it's bad to go on vacation. It's not. But you know, where do you want to be? Right. And the thing is that, like, this practice doesn't actually take a lot of time. And this practice actually will make you more effective in everything you do. So, you know, as soon as, like I said, the one thing about, well, you don't need to make so much money. I mean, you could make more money because you're more effective, right? But, you know, the main thing is to put all of that underneath releasing my samskaras, right? Getting enough sleep is not as important as releasing my samskaras. My job is not as important as releasing my samskaras. And even my relationship is not as important as releasing my samskaras, right? So, I mean, in actual fact, you don't really have to choose between the two. Like, your job is going to be better, your health is going to be better. But in the moment, we convince ourselves that I need to do this thing for my job. I don't even understand actually how, like, like what is it that your samskaras want you to do that's going to help you in your job? What is it that your samskaras want to do that's going to help you with your health, right? Because your samskaras don't know what they're talking about. You know, it's like, let me hire the worst coach in the world, right? I hired this coach in order to make more money. Okay, that doesn't mean you should listen to them. You should fire them because they don't know what they're talking about, right? Marina?
Yeah, you know what, as far as the chapter with the intention, I think that I've been I wouldn't call it struggling, but the idea of our course being over, I think it's been like accountability, which has been very helpful for me. You know, knowing that we were going to be meeting and talking, and it really helped me get, you know, centered in that. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, but I find that this chapter is helpful. You know, like if I reread it, it's like, okay, it's, yes, the class was wonderful and the course, but I still have to do the work myself. You know, this isn't just, I mean, it's amazing, but I have to do the work. And I think sometimes, is it making sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you know, definitely having this structure does make it easier to, you know, it kind of keeps the focus on this practice. But you are the captain of your ship. And I'm sure, you know, there's other ways that you can, you know, have accountability. I mean, there's the, you know, Frank's Facebook group that, you know,
Mhm.
you can do, you know, do that, and you can share with them, I am, you know, here's what I've, you know, here's what I'm going to do. And I will check in with you next week on that. Right? You could even ask Frank, please remind me to check in on that. This is a Facebook group that this guy, Frank O'Connor, facilitates. That's they meet every Saturday and Sunday at noon, and it's just sort of free. They read a bit of Mickey's books, and then it's just sort of open sharing. But I'm pretty sure that's in my resources document. Uh, so you can just join the Facebook group and then join the he does Zoom sessions every Saturday and Sunday. So there's that. And then I do offer once a month or so, like a Zoom gathering. I call it Sangha, where we can talk about our practice, our Mickey Singer practice. So there is that. I know it's not the same as a course where you have a home practice and da 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 da, but you have all the materials for the course, so you can download it and just take it again on your own, over and over and over again, if you like. And you can always get in touch with me even after the course, and I'd be happy to talk with you. So, what else? So he says in terms of building intent that will is like a muscle, you have to exercise it. And so that, you know, that's like part of the captain of your ship practice. It's not just the particular thing that you want to do or not do. It's also, you know, strengthening your will, right? Just like the practice I think I mentioned before of, you know, you're eating something that you really like and don't take that last bite. You know, you could save it for later or you can do whatever with it, but don't take that last bite, just as an exercise of will. Also as an exercise of will, you can practice notice, relax, release. That's a good one. Even when you don't feel like it. He says to meditate morning and evening for 15 minutes. Yep. And the purpose of my day is learning to let go. Yeah. He says to never complain. That's a challenging one. I would just start with noticing when you're complaining. Notice when you're complaining, just notice. So, he says that, you know, as you practice noticing like the pull of the personal mind, the pull of the samskara, and that your intention can be stronger than that. And once you notice that you can make that decision to not go with the samskara, then you're really like on your way, right? Because once you know you can do that, then it just happens more and more and more. That's what I've noticed. I mean, the hardest part is just being aware of what's going on. As soon as I'm aware, oh, there's a samskara here, it's pretty much game over. Like I might not be able to actually release it, but I practice with it, and my intention is clear. And he talks about the tug of war thing with, you know, Luke, let go of your, relax your hands, relax your hands. So maybe that's helpful. Any other comments on this chapter? I do think this is one of the most important chapters in the book. It's really, this is where the rubber meets the road. Lisa?
I hate saying this, but I still don't fully get the concept of samskara. Like when you said release the samskara, release the personal mind, I understand more release the personal mind. But whenever you talk about samskara, my brain kind of spins like I think I know what that means. Like our fears, desires, and
yeah, it just means like this the samskara, it means get out of the way. So stop steering. Right? The samskara is coming up and it wants to release, right? And what you need to do is don't get in its way. You know, it's like the ripples in the pond. You want the ripples to go away, don't touch them. Right? So it's a non-doing. Releasing the samskaras, and it's stop resisting, basically. Right? So like with the you know, the noise, the people playing the music or watching their shows, it's just letting it happen and going, there's no problem here, this is great, just
but in that situation, what is, I know it's not a thing, but what's the samskara? Like or maybe I don't need to understand what samskara is. Like I understand what releasing means.
it's just the, you can look at it several ways. It's the energy blockage that just got hit, or it's your model of the world that says people shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, you're releasing your view in that sense, right? You're
or like preferences and
yeah. And you know, it's funny, just the talk I was listening to today, Mickey was talking about that, and he made a really good distinction, which is that you're not actually releasing, like you can't just sort of drop a preference, right? The preference is there, that's the samskara. All you can do is not get in the way when that preference manifests, you know. So you notice a preference for like no music or no TV show, and you say to yourself, bye-bye. You know, instead of holding on to the preference and going, no, they shouldn't be doing this, you say, you know, Jimmy crack corn, and I don't care. I don't need to hold on to this view.
so it's releasing it, but I know this is obvious and we talked about it. It's not expressing or suppressing, but releasing it's a subtle difference, but very
Yeah.
significant to suppressing it. Of
Yeah.
like, okay, no, that's not my preference anymore. Of like, it's such a subtle.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's because you can't actually release a samskara. The samskara releases itself. You just get out of the way. So it's not something you can do. It's just something that you can see it coming and get out of the way. So, notice, relax, release, thank you. You notice that you're the one who's aware. So you're not identified with the thoughts or the emotions. You relax the resistance to the reaction doing whatever it's doing. You release the pull of the thoughts. You're not releasing the samskara, you're releasing the pull of the thoughts. Right? They're two different uses of the word. And then you appreciate it. You say, oh, an opportunity to let go. Great. Or an opportunity to learn to let go, because you can't actually make it happen, right? You can just get out of the way and let things go where they may. And, and just kind of fall back behind it all and just let it all happen. Just enjoy the show. There's no problem here. Your personal mind is saying that it's a problem here. Nope. No problem.
can you say that one more time? The relax, because you said you're relaxing.
You're relaxing the resistance.
Resistance, right? I know this is all been done before, but
Or the sense, the struggle, the defending, the wanting things to be different.
and then release the thoughts.
Release the pull of the personal mind. Yeah, that's the tug of war. Luke, relax your hands. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And do you still have your hand up? No.
No, I've just been like, I've had it. Should I put I don't know. I find it very interesting, all of this, because I've had my own, kind of battles. And some people solve the, the conversations and the whatever, but with earbuds. I notice a lot of people have earbuds, and I think, oh, I think I need to maybe get some. And I have another one where yesterday, I don't know whether it was a big fail or whatever, but I finally just phoned about neighbors with lights in the backyards. And I was trying while I was doing it, because I'm thinking, okay, is this advocacy? And while I'm doing it, I will try to relax, release. But the neighbors have had lights on for a year, and then all of a sudden another neighbor has more lights, and it's like 3 of them anyway. I just, I think this is the time. I think I will pick up the phone, but I will try, and while I do it, I will try and not get, so I'm thinking, is this part of, okay, it's not that I just sit back and let whatever happen. It's okay, sometimes there are moments to do something, but it's then more of, again, it's not the moment that's causing the problem, it's you are caught, it's, what was it, how he said that?
Yeah, there's,
Yeah.
oh, the moment in front of you is not
Yeah.
bothering you, that you're bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, none of this is saying don't take action in the world.
Right.
Right? It's just saying stop resisting the moment. Let the energy move through you. It's all about what's going on inside. Right? So, if again, it's all skillful means, right? It's not like a formula that tells you what to do in this situation or that, but it's noticing what's going on inside of me, and always with the goal of how do I release my samskaras, and making that more important than what's going on around me. But that doesn't mean you never like do stuff with it doesn't mean you don't take action in the world. Yeah. And it doesn't mean you don't take care of yourself, you know, physically. Okay, so let's move on. We actually, I'm gonna run through the last two chapters pretty quickly because we have the exercise to do at the end. So exploring the higher states. So, you know, he says after you've released a bunch of your samskaras, things start to get better. You start to notice this energy in you, this Shakti, that feels really great. I've certainly noticed that. I don't know if anyone here has noticed that at all. It's pretty, I mean, it took a while, it took a couple of years. But and it's not there all the time for me. I'm not quite in the state, some of the states he talks about. But I actually had a friend say to me about 2 weeks ago, he said, I think you're the happiest person I know. And I was like gobsmacked actually, because it was like, this is someone who's known me since I was 0. And certainly didn't used to be the case. So he says, life is no longer about escaping discomfort. It's about increasing the positive energy. So, because I think once I got a taste for it, it's, sometimes I ask myself, is this like a detour, or is this like the main path? All this like just pleasant energy. What about the whole no self, non-dual thing? Anyway, I'm not sure they're separate. I don't know. I really don't know at this point. And he says that love wants to express itself, this idea that you're not going to have any drive or motivation to, get out there in the world. He basically says, look at my life. That's not the case. He through no intention of his own wound up, running $1 billion company, when all he wanted to do was yoga and meditation. And that's because he let go of the personal mind and did things that were presented to him, even though he didn't want to do them. And but it's true, when you're in a state of when you're in a high energy state, when you have joy and enthusiasm and peace, it's much easier to do stuff, and you want to do stuff. You get up in the morning and you're like, what can I do today? And he says as the Shakti flows more and more, it just naturally removes more and more samskaras. It just gets easier and easier. I think that's true. And yeah, life just becomes beautiful. So hopefully, even in the last 7 weeks, your life has gotten a little more beautiful. And you're the captain of your ship, so steer it where you want to go. Any questions about that chapter? Okay. And then the last chapter, in the world but not of it. So I really like how he talks about This idea that you see a piece of paper on the sidewalk and maybe you pick it up and throw it in the garbage. Maybe you don't pick it up. But what you don't do is go, if I pick that up, am I going to have to pick up every piece of paper? Or I can't believe somebody threw this, and they just dropped this paper and didn't pick it up, right? You're not doing that, right? Because, I mean, we all have samskaras, so we may do that. But he's saying, when you're in the highest state, you're not at all thinking like that because you don't have all these judgments and ideas about how things should be and what people should do and what they shouldn't do. And instead, it's just, oh, there's paper on the ground. Why don't I put it in the garbage? Or, oh, there's paper in the ground. I don't feel like doing anything about it, right? But you're not bothered. You're just la la la, right? But I think it's true that when you're not bothered, there's a pretty good chance you'll pick it up, right? And it's because you just want to serve, right? It's not about you anymore. That's the secret to happiness in this life. It's not about me, chickadee, chickadee. It's if I take the spotlight off of me, then there's no problems. There's no worries. So he says the highest life you can live is when every single moment that passes before you is better off because it did. So it's just, how can I raise this moment? And when you're in love, when you're experiencing love, like I've had moments where I just love everyone and everything, and there's no concern for me. And it's not a disregard for myself. It's like, I'm good. I don't need anything. I'm taken care of. Right? And I just want everyone to be happy. And he says when you're like that, you'll just naturally make better decisions. You're not going to be right all the time. You're not going to do everything perfectly, but you're just you're not misperceiving the world the way you do through, with the influence of the samskaras. And then he talks about you start to seek the source and, the drop falling into the ocean. And this is, the enlightenment, the non-dual experience. And he says that's just something that happens naturally when the energy really starts to flow, when the samskaras there's very few left. And I don't know that he tends to talk about these great masters. He doesn't talk about himself, so I don't know what his own thing is. But anyway, the bottom line is that this practice can take you all the way to enlightenment, if that's your goal. And then I guess at the end of the book, he says, don't just read the book, put this into practice. And you've all been doing that. So, yay. Give yourself a big pat on the back for that, right? Okay, so the question is, what's next after this course, right? So this is why I've asked you to bring your pen and paper or whatever you want to write with. Could be your computer. I really should do this. So what differences have you noticed in your experience over the course? How have your experiences changed? What practices, and I'll just type these in the chat. So what differences have you noticed in your experience? And what practices have been most helpful? And what do you want to continue to practice? So there may be some practices that you found more helpful than others. And you know, so I mean, there's meditation, there's moments of center consciousness, small stuff, captain of your ship. Those are kind of the big ones, but there might be some other ones. And then what words of encouragement have helped the most? And when I say words of encouragement, I mean really like your own words. I mean, it could be Mickey, it could be a quote from Mickey, or it could be something I said, but something that you use to help yourself to practice. And then what obstacles have you faced and how have you overcome them? Just to remind you of that. So I'll give you a few minutes to just write about those questions. Okay, so we're going to do breakout groups just to discuss what you've written, and you know, you can certainly keep writing after class. Please don't stop just because class is over. Okay. So we'll have 3 participants per room, and we'll go for about 5 minutes, because we're getting close to the end. Okay, so here we go.
And Marina.
Welcome back, everybody. So I hope that was productive. We're pretty much out of time, maybe if but I encourage you to, complete the answers to the questions if you haven't already, and to really, set an intention in terms of how you want to practice, and you can always write me if you have any questions or if you want to talk. No problem. So yeah, and I will be sending around an email with a link to a feedback form, because it would be great to just get your feedback in terms of what was most helpful and not so helpful, and just to help me improve the course. And yeah, so I appreciate that. We'll probably, I'm thinking 3 weeks tonight to do a Sangha. So that could be a good opportunity to, refresh if you need a refresh, or if you just want to be together, that would be nice. If you're not in Thailand, or even if you're
If it's late enough, then it will be early there.
right,
12 hours, so
yeah,
although I'll probably be on retreat then
yeah.
in December, but after that, I'll try and join.
Wow, great, Mark. That's exciting. Wow.
Yeah. So for just to close, to have a little bit of ceremony at the end of this to close, I thought what we could do is just go around the Zoom room, and just share one word that expresses your how the course, what the course has brought out in you. Uh, so it could be anything, and don't worry about it. You can, whatever the word is fine. So I'll start. For me, just coming home for me, actually. Mark?
Aspiration.
Thanks, Mark. Julie?
Progress.
Thanks, Julie. Linda?
Relaxing underwater, under the surface.
Yeah. Thanks, Linda. Saja?
Eye-opening.
Thanks, Saja.
Mhm.
Marina? Oh, you're muted, Marina.
Excitement.
Excitement. Great, thanks, Marina. Allie?
Letting go.
Thanks, Sally. Lisa?
Commitment.
Sorry?
Sorry. Commitment.
Commitment. Great. Thanks, Lisa. Graham?
Encouragement.
Nice. Thanks, Graham. Jill?
Gratitude.
Great. I like gratitude. Thanks, Jill. Anna?
More positive outlook on everything, and self-encouragement is good from time to time.
Positive outlook, self-encouragement. Great.
Mm.
Thanks, Anna. And Anne? You're muted.
I thought I pressed opening. An opening.
Opening.
I feel that there's an opening happening.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Anne. And Kathy, I don't know if you're there. Maybe not. Okay. All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for, all your efforts in this course, for your presence. It's been really wonderful.
Miss Saja?
No, Sajja, sure.
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh, he said eye-opening.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for coming. And as I said, don't be a stranger. If you ever want to talk or if you just want to email or whatever, feel free to get in touch. And hopefully I'll see you at future Sangas or somewhere our paths will cross. And Kathy, have you been following along? Oh. Okay.
You'll
Alrighty.
you'll send out emails about the Sangas?
I'll send out emails about the Sangas, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I should have clarified that. Yeah, absolutely.
I assume.
And if you don't want to be on the email list, just let me know and I'll take you off.
And thank you, Lori, for the course.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Lori,
very
for
much.
everything.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Lori.
you.
So fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a
Was it?
fantastic job.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lori.
very,
Thanks,
very
Lori.
worth it.
Well,
Thank you. My
it's nice
pleasure.
to meet everyone.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Everybody, you are all great.
See you
Wonderful
guys
people. Thank you.
soon.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye.